Welcome to the CVGS Video Production Lab. Over the course of the following 4 assignments, I'll be guiding you through the process of planning, shooting, and editing digital video using your smartphone and Adobe Premiere Pro. The focus on smartphone videography is central to this new version of the lab. When I was a senior at CVGS, my classmates and I had to rely on a small stock of digital cameras and a handful of school computers set aside for video editing. But you all have phones and laptops that grant you a great deal more freedom and flexibility. For one thing, the portability of the tools at your disposal means that you're not limited by what you can accomplish during a handful of hours over the course of an average GovSchool week. By relying on a camera that you regularly carry with you, you'll have many more opportunities to shoot, experiment, and refine your camera skills. Likewise, individually assigned laptops mean that everyone can get hands-on experience editing rather than taking turns with group members at a single desktop. Adobe Premiere Pro is what we'll be using to edit our videos. The sheer number of features that come with the software can be intimidating, I'll grant you that. It's a big toolbox, one of the most commonly used in the world, and as a result having to address a variety of needs. But it doesn't take thorough knowledge of every option and function to make good use of it. Being a standard in the video editing space, Premiere Pro's users range from novices like many of you to Oscar-winning film editors. As a GovSchool student, you have access to Adobe's Creative Cloud service, from which you can download and install Premiere. You'll want to do that as soon as possible. That way you can sort out any sign-in or installation issues before you need to start editing. If you encounter any issues like that, you should take them up with Mr. Steele as soon as possible. Perhaps as a result of trying to accommodate so many different needs and skill levels, Premiere can be a bit weird at times, a bit obtuse. Never fear. Assuming you pay attention to this lab's guides, and your devices aren't cursed, you shouldn't encounter many major issues. The software might just be a little slow at times. Your primary resource for this lab will be the Video Production Lab website. Here you'll find guides for each assignment, tutorials for setting up lab equipment, and other useful resources meant to help you get the most out of this lab. Video guides for each assignment will be split into 2 or more parts. Generally speaking, each will have a pre-production video covering criteria and other matters to consider before you start recording, and a post-production video walking you through the editing process and explaining key features along the way. Depending on the topic, some items might get their own videos, which should make them easier to come back to and reference later if you need to. If you would prefer a guide that you could read as opposed to watch, text guides will also be included on the assignment's webpage alongside the video guides. The assignments themselves will be submitted through the Google Classroom set up for your particular lab rotation. You should already have received an email with the invitation link, so be sure you accept it and get yourself added in properly. Here you'll find listings for all the assignments as well as, importantly, the due dates. Your grade for this lab will be based on 4 assignments and 4 10-question quizzes, 1 for each assignment. Assignments are worth up to 20 points each, and quizzes are worth up to 5 for a total of 100 points. Fairly straightforward. Students are only allowed 1 attempt at each quiz, but they're all open note, so feel free to have the video or text guides queued up while you work on them. The consensus among previous students has been that video guides are good to follow when editing, while the text guides make for better references when working on the quizzes. The exact spacing of due dates may vary depending on the time of year you take this lab, but each assignment and its associated quiz will be due by noon on their specified date. The most certain way to lose points in this lab is to turn in work late. So it's important to stay on top of your work. All late submissions will have a 10% deduction applied for each day late. Extensions can be granted, but only on a case-by-case basis. Don't expect one if you wait until the night before or the morning that the assignment and quiz are due. With that in mind, technical issues and other conflicts should be communicated as soon as possible. Mysterious errors preventing someone from finishing an assignment, especially if they only crop up in the final few hours, are likely to be seen as a result of procrastination. Such cases are not likely to be granted an extension. An important note about group work versus individual work. The mobility granted by your phones and laptops might make solo productions easier, but that doesn't mean you have to work in isolation. Students are more than welcome to help each other set up equipment, set up shots, and give feedback on each other's work. For example, the last assignment will see you producing a short piece in the style of a TV news story. Rather than doing everything alone, 2 or more students could take turns behind and in front of the camera, capturing footage for each other's videos, and doing so faster than any of them could manage alone. The sample videos I've produced to accompany each assignment were planned, set up, shot, and edited solo just to demonstrate that they are doable by yourself. But feel free to get a group together to help expedite the process for each other. Editing is by nature a solitary activity, but that doesn't mean the rest has to be. That said, students should not be sharing footage. Each student will be responsible for obtaining their own original footage, even if another student helps, and they'll be solely responsible for editing and submitting their own videos. And one other note about the sample videos, some of them will exceed the criteria laid out for their respective assignments, and some of them required more editing than you are going to be expected to do. That's intentional. The sample videos are really meant to serve more as models for your own work. They're not the bar you're expected to meet. Alright, let's see what we can make.